What's up, everyone? This is Truth Media. I'm your host. This is a new channel. I'm the Information Man. On both of my channels, I did a video about Marvin Sapp, the pastor from Chosen Vessel Church Ministries in Fort Worth, Texas. I went over it on my first channel, The Information Man Show, and this is a new channel, and I want everybody to subscribe, to follow this channel, because I'm going to be raw and uncut and straight in the face here. I'm going to say something very honest, as I did a deep dive into more research about Marvin Sapp. I realized that he is a piece of shit, that he's a liar, and that the interview that he gave on Ricky Smiley's show, Ricky Smiley gave him a complete softball interview, because that's his damn friend. They're friends, so-called friends. And Ricky Smiley was holding water and doing damage control for Marvin Sapp, who is a piece of shit. I got to be honest, after finding out what I just found out about this man. It turns out that Marvin Sapp has a childhood friend. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And what I'm finding out is that people out there are saying that he hasn't been keeping it real for a long time, that he has gotten too Hollywood, that he's become too Hollywood, and that he's been living not a godly life. Did you know? And she's going to break it down. This is a young lady who has a YouTube channel. She goes by the name of Unbreakable Strong Woman by Nina. She grew up with Marvin Sapp, knows about him and his rise to where he is today, and she's going to be exposing him. I've got the clips for you to hear. But did you know that he has a connection to Jamal Bryant, who we know is a pastor who has had problems in his life with messing around with females in his church? Well, Jamal Bryant has a ex-wife who his best friend Marvin Sapp was having a relationship with. So you're messing around with the ex-wife of your good friend and pastor Jamal Bryant. It goes even weirder than that. Did you know that Marvin Sapp also performed for the Diddler? That's right, P. Diddy, along with people like T.D. Jakes, who we know was out there dancing and fraternizing. You can't fraternize like that when you're supposed to be a man of God. Let me show you the first clip from this young lady. It's going to blow your mind. And this is why I say that Marvin Sapp got up there on that interview with Ricky Smiley, and all he did was just give us a bunch of bullshit. Now that I've discovered this, I want you to see and hear what I have discovered. Here's the first clip.
But as a friend, a childhood friend, my opinion, you were wrong. Ricky Smiley claimed to be your friend, but he only know you as a grown man in Hollywood. Ricky Smiley claiming to be a friend, but I don't understand how, Ricky. How are you claiming to be his friend when you're not telling him the truth? Only friends tell you the truth, and he can take this like a grain of salt, because half the city mad at him right now. Half the city mad at him because they like, wait a minute, you went Hollywood on us like that? You doing the stuff that all these people in Hollywood doing? You ain't from.
Talking about this piece of shit right here, Marvin Sapp. Another thing I want people to realize too, that there's a chance that when Marvin Sapp was asking to raise that $40,000, that he might have been raising his own fee, meaning these damn chicken neck, jack-leg preachers, these chitlin eating preachers, when they go to these international conventions and conferences, they're getting paid for appearance fees. He may have been collecting appearance fees for himself and for other well-known pastors that was on that stage. They were trying to make up the difference because I said in my first video, 2 videos on the Information Man show, that people had to pay $75, $100, maybe $200 just to register for this conference. So when he sat up there and said that it was possibly for administrative fees, I'm saying that he's a fucking liar. Another thing about Marvin Sapp is that he never told you what the money was for. Another lie. Let's continue.
Nothing like that. Come on, bring it back down, Marvin. Come on back. Come on back to reality. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood, I think, make people start believing they're God. They bigger than life. The money, the fame. From my understanding, he even said he just recently made an R&B CD just to see if he could do it. If that's what I got out of his story, I'm like, what? Then he performed at Diddy's 50th birthday party. What?
Did you hear that? He performed at P. Diddy's 50th birthday party. Marvin Sapp is a piece of garbage.
Then Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife, allegedly, was just dating Marvin Sapp. And Pastor Jamal Bryant and Marvin Sapp are good friends. What? So I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute is the truth. The man messing around with the ex-wife of Jamal Bryant, supposed to be his boy. This is Marvin Sapp, the man of the cloth, the man that tells you that he's the man that you should believe in, the man that got up there and lied to everyone on the Ricky Smiley show. Bullshit. Marvin Sapp gets the Negro Please Award for adding to the embarrassment of black people worldwide. This is the reward that I'm giving this Negro this evening, this day, this morning. But there's more. She's going to break down more stuff. This is, once again, The Unbreakable Strong Woman by Nina. Check out her channel. She has a big channel. But she also gives some more tidbits here. I want you to hear this. Here we go.
And they participated free will. Pastor Sapp is saying, I was at somebody's church at an event, and it was about celebrating the Lord Jesus Christ. But then money came in. He didn't leave this part. He didn't say this, but I'm saying it. The money came in. We didn't raise enough money that we wanted to raise, so I told the ushers to close the doors. And this the part I don't agree with him when he said I didn't hold them against their will. Who know the protocol of church? Tell me, who knows the protocol of church? When the pastor said close the doors, it ain't no movement going on. Nobody coming in and nobody going out. You hear me? Unless they want to really just curse somebody out and push them out the way. The ushers stand in front of those doors like armed guards until the pastor say, open the doors of the church. Am I wrong? So when he said close those doors, he closed them for a purpose. I want $40,000. Then he wanted on to say, he gonna say it in a minute. You can leave when you pass in front of this, the front of the altar. You can leave. Because that's where the buckets are. Once you drop your money, you can go on out the door. So if that's not holding somebody against the will, what is it?
People took issue with me saying shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors. Yeah. I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out.
You hear that?
They've taken issue with my tone. And I can honestly say, you know, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. You know, I can apologize for that. But 3 things I need to make sure that people understand. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000, that was.
He's a fucking liar. if it was 40, you said you were raising 40,000. You never told us exactly completely what it was all going to. Then you turned around on this interview and said that you don't know how much they actually raised. Bullshit. You were raising that money to get fees for appearance fees for the pastors on that stage. Oh, the pastors were getting broken off. Marvin Sapp also told Ricky Smiley another lie that I'm now finding out, that he left the church that he served for 16 years. He told Smiley that he served a church in Grand Rapids, Michigan for 16 years and gave them $30,000 every month and left them in good standing. Now I'm finding out that the people there were mad because he did what? He ran out on them because he wanted to go to a mega church where you make the big money. So he skipped out. He left those people for debt, meaning that he saw a bigger opportunity with a mega church and left them. But he lied, allegedly lied to Ricky Smiley about this. We're going to get to that. Let's continue.
Raised was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their
Liar.
conference.
Another lie. Who been to a conference? When you have a conference at a church, you have special guests coming in like Pastor Marvin Sapp. And Pastor Marvin Sapp's not cheap. You hear me? It was several pastors up there that had to get paid. So when he was calling for 40,000, trust and believe the trustees had already been in the back because they had already collected money.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Counted the money, gave them the totals, came out and told the pastors, this is what we raised. And they realized this ain't enough to pay everybody.
Do you hear that? She's cooking on all cylinders here.
Because Pastor Sapp by himself probably was 15, 20,000. So what did he do? Oh, we need 40,000 more dollars. He never said why they were raising that money. Now he's trying to say it was for the conference.
Everybody out there listening to the program, you get what I'm saying. He never did completely break down why they were raising the money. This is part of the bullshit.
For what conference? I mean, who gonna get it? Somebody gonna get the money. What the conference gonna do with the money? We here to celebrate the Lord, right? So why we paying all this money?
Everybody, do you get it? Do you get what's going on here? Do you really understand the bullshit of what's going on here? Let's get to the next clip. This is absolutely crazy. Here we go.
One of the reasons being is because of this.
He about to lie real big right here, y'all. Now, I'm sure this had happened at several churches before, but it's nothing like always happen to the degree you have to be worried. Listen to this.
Sacredness of the moment. But it's also about security. As a pastor, that churches are being robbed at gunpoint. It's happening.
How many churches you went to out of your life and it was robbed at gunpoint? Tell me how many of you watching that go to church or visited churches and you were robbed at gunpoint? You hear what he just said? Pretty much I wanted the doors closed because churches get robbed at gunpoint. Now this is
I want everybody to leave a comment on this video. Have you experienced tons of churches being robbed at gunpoint? Have you experienced being in a church being robbed at gunpoint? I think that Marvin Sapp, when I put it all together and listening to what she's saying, you're listening to a woman who was a childhood friend with Marvin Sapp, knew him personally, knows him personally, grew up with him in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And when he left that town after claiming he put a church in good standing, a lot of people are angry at him up there. Let's go.
A pastor that I know for a fact, I heard him say it out of his own mouth, but I'm still gonna say alleged, at the church here in Grand Rapids, had his ushers and security walking around with pawpaws. And used to tell us, my boys got pawpaws. And my mother one Sunday was there and heard him and said, I thought he was covered by the blood. You mean he don't trust God? So, I don't know.
All over the country. This is not something I'm making.
Let's go to the next clip. I want you to all hear this next clip. And Pastor or Marvin Sapp is a piece of garbage. He's shit. He lied. I'm going to say it again on the Ricky Smiley show. It was all alive, and Ricky Smiley was doing damage control for him because it's his boy. The same pastor you see on the screen messing around with Jamal Bryant's ex-wife. No man code there. These preachers make money. He was probably collecting money for his speaker's fee or maybe other preachers that were there. This whole thing is despicable to the highest degree. It smells horrible. Let's go with the next clip.
I'm not sure when they get paid, but I know it's a dollar sign on what they get paid. It just say they do get paid. That still don't mean the pastor speaking is not going to have a call for more money to make up what they got paid. And then I was told at a conference, even after they get paid, they get a percentage of the giving, the tithing. They get a percentage. So the more they receive, the more the speakers receive. So he's sitting here trying to act like he did this conference for free. And he's going to go on and say how his money came from his music. Now tell me this. If you're an artist and you're making millions of dollars from your music, because I'm sure he did, why would you go on and preach for free? Because this is what he's going to say. Y'all going to hear it. Listen.
And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid.
One more. I got to keep stopping, y'all. He's about to say something that I personally don't believe. You guys can believe it if you want to, but it don't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
As I think about this doing my other videos on my other channel, The Information Man Show, he claimed that he was scared for his safety. Yet this man already has full security. And as she said, according to her, he had already said that his security guys, they carry weapons. I think Marvin Sapp lied on the Ricky Smiley show to gain sympathy for himself and his situation. He wanted to turn a bad situation to make himself out to be the victim, when in fact he was the perpetrator of this whole damn thing, telling those ushers to close the door. In a way, it was like almost holding people hostage, allegedly, because the goal was to make sure that you got some money out of these people who had already been paying a lot of money just to attend this conference. 4,000 people were there. You're telling me that they didn't make enough money with 4,000 people in attendance? And this came out of the mouth of even Marvin Sapp himself.
I can understand somebody calling the church cursing him out. I can understand people mad saying they'll never come back to his church. But this part he about to say, I don't believe it.
Because I've received death threats.
Death threats.
Over $20 and shut the door.
Who believe that?
I do not. I do not believe it. After discovering this sister's video and finding out that she knows him, grew up with him, knows his bullshit, and there's other people in Grand Rapids, Michigan that are pissed off at him, I don't believe it. these preachers he wants to make you think that preachers, only a handful of them are making money off the church. Bullshit.
And he receiving death threats about people being mad. He told people don't leave the church. Now, do that sound believable? I just don't
Hell to the no.
personally believe that. Who would be that mad that they say, I'm going to delete you, Pastor Sapp, because you won't let them people out that church? And he didn't say a death threat. He said, I received death threats. Several people calling his church want to delete him for tithing and offering. I don't believe it.
People have come to our campus. They have come to my church to try to cause problems, issues, challenges. And again, my children, I don't look at comments. We was talking about this. You know, I don't read comments. When you got millions of followers, you ain't got time to read all the comments. You just don't have it, right?
That's the first bullshit that he said. That's the next bullshit that he said, that he don't have time to read his comments, but yet his kids had time. After I find this video and I examine the things that the sister was saying, and I did another, what I would call a third eye analysis, Marvin Sapp, I think, did damage control on the Ricky Smiley show. But most importantly, he lied. And Ricky Smiley let him lie. He sat up there, ran a puff interview with him for him, ran interference for him to run it away from him and to do what we call damage control. These Negroes, whether it be a Ricky Smiley, a comedian, and all these Negroes within the religious circles, like a Jamal Bryant, they continue to play games with black people. And then they wonder why black men don't want to be in their churches, don't want nothing to do with them. Because we as black men can see through the bullshit.
My children do. And they are afraid. And the reason being is because I'm their only parent. I'm a widower. You know, they're afraid for my safety. So now we've had to update and increase security and all the things I've never had to do before because of the vitriol and the anger that people have shown, the things they've said in my
Exactly. Sympathy, y'all. He said that, and like I said, I grew up with this dude. I would not try to do anything to bring harm to Pastor Sapp. But that's sympathy right there with the death threats. That's how I feel, my personal opinion. You know why I believe it's sympathy? Because right after that, what did he say? My children are afraid. I'm their only parent. Everybody know he lost his wife. So now, not only I'm getting death threats, my kids can lose their last parent. So it's sympathy.
Yes, what it is sympathy. It's a lot of, I would say, bullshit that's going on with Pastor Sapp's here. I want to let you hear some more. I've got some more clips of this bullshit. You just can't trust these religious pimps in the pulpit. We've been saying it for quite some time. Let's go back to this one.
More money so that I can help the organization that has been such a great support to me. These people, and again, let's be clear, not a dime of that money came to me. Not a dime.
Did y'all just hear that lie?
He's a liar.
Not a dime of the money came to him. Okay. Let me tell you about city slick people and people
Saps is a liar, and she breaks it down.
That know how to manipulate. They know word games. They know how to be slick with words. Just like he said, I didn't say lock the doors. I said shut the doors. I didn't get none of that money, but guess what I did get? I got paid for being there. See, he's not saying he got paid. He just said I didn't get a dime, like he didn't get paid for none of this. Now, we know dang on well when the pastors come to conferences, they get paid. That's how you get your money. But he wants us to believe he went for free because he wanted to celebrate the Lord. So if you went for free to celebrate the Lord, Why do the people got to pay? That's why I want to know. And then if you didn't get the money, why did you say this, Pastor Sapp?
She's absolutely right. Everything she's saying is on point. Let's hear that part again. These jack-a-leg preachers are a reason why you don't have black men wanting to go to church.
Lord, why do the people got to pay?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to know. And then if you didn't get the money, why did you say this, Pastor Sapp? It pays to be up here. Did y'all hear that part?
Yes.
He said it pays to be up here in this pulpit. So if y'all pastors put y'all 20 back in y'all pocket, I need 100 from y'all. Didn't he say that?
He 110% orange juice said that out of his freaking garbage mouth. He's a liar. And this is why everybody that got triggered by what he did up there on that stage had every right to make the videos that we've made about this. Everybody had the right to have the speculation that they had, because this sister you're listening to right now on this channel, Truth Media Raw, make sure you subscribe, knows the man, grew up with the man, same neighborhood, says that she knows that he's full of crap, and she understands how religious conferences work. These pastors be getting paid. That's why they be trying to raise that money to pay these appearances fees, the fees for them to appear and to perform, because that's all they're doing is a performance.
So who was getting the money?
And where did your money come from? I've been blessed. I've been extremely blessed. I've sold millions of records. Millions. I'm a songwriter.
Another lie. I got to keep stopping every time I hear a lie. Ricky Smiley said, so where did your money come from? He stumbled. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I sold millions of copies of records. So you didn't get no money, Pastor Sapp. Nowhere on file have you ever received money for preaching. And he said he lied.
How much have you gotten paid from, and we on the radio live, right? How much have you gotten paid from your church? I'm just saying. Okay, so
I'm sorry, I know y'all get mad at me. Here come one of the biggest lies. Listen to what he said about our church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the church he had in Grand Rapids. Listen to this.
This is the church that he claimed that he left them in good standings, right? This is the church that he claimed that when he left there, he gave them $30,000 a month. And then he left them in good standings after 16 years and never took one dime of money. A lie. The people there have been angry at Marvin Sapp because he basically let them, he left them at the altar. They liked him there. They wanted him to stay as the pastor of the church. But then they're angry with him because he ran off from the church to run to the mega church and left that church behind as a second fiddle. Then he claims he left them with all this money. That hasn't been really instantiated by the people there. You're going to hear her say this. You're going to hear her talk about this. Let's continue.
What people don't know is that I pastored 16 years in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I founded my church. I pastored 16 years. We had a great church. Still have a great church there. 16 years of pastoring, I never got paid a dime. That's a fact. 16 years.
He's lying.
You can call the church. You can ask them. I pastored.
Everybody, he's lying. This is a lie. I discovered a lot of things. Listen to this sister's stream and doing some research, and in the fact that he associated himself with the diddler himself, P. Diddy.
The Lighthouse for Life Center Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for free for 16 years. 9 years of those 16 years, I gave a minimum of $30,000 a month.
He said for 16 years in Grand Rapids, Michigan, he never got paid for pastoring that church, the Lighthouse. Instead, he paid $30,000 to the church. So he gave $30,000 to the church because all his money came from music.
to my church. 30 grand a month to my church to ensure that the church could go forward. We had a lot of stuff. I had a college campus that we had bought. We had 3 other campuses. And my membership had dwindled after my life had passed because I...
Now, the campus he talked about, my son went to one of those campuses. He went to the junior high school that Pastor Sapp and Melinda Sapp opened. And the reason I sent my son there, because I thought it was going to be like a charter school. It would be better than public schools. It was more chaos at that school than it was at the public school. My son ended up getting his life threatened. He was so scared. He was getting bullied. I called Pastor Sapp, couldn't reach him. So one day my son went to school with a screwdriver, and it was summer school, and the teacher seen him with it. They called every police officer in the city, and my son at the time was in the 6th grade, I think. And I got called from work. My daughter runs up there. They got my baby in the back of the police car. Pastor Sapp was called. He had his secretary handle it. So he was expelled from that school for having a screwdriver, protecting himself because he was afraid because he was getting bullied. But when I tried to rectify it, I couldn't reach Pastor Sapp. I couldn't reach Melinda. You know, so I did the best I could by reporting it. Then he told the children, if you join my school, once a month, I'm going to bring a celebrity here, basketball player for the sports, whoever, to meet the kids, to mentor them and talk to them, and, you know, because he had the power to do that. Never once, nobody came. My son was one of his top football players for his school. He had, I still got the letter somewhere, Aquinas College and Grand Valley College.
Let me stop it right there. This is very interesting stuff. She's explaining that he had a charter school that she said seemed to be worse than the regular public school because her son had a lot of issues there with people picking on him. Let me go to this last clip that I have as it relates to this despicable pastor. It's just what I had thought in the back of my gut thoughts, that he's just like every other pastor. I don't care if he's made a lot of money off of writing songs. He can sing, whatever. He still has that spirit of a liar, a spirit of a gamer. And this is how I feel about him personally. And I believe what this sister is saying, she knows what she's talking about. She sounds very credible. She knows this man. She grew up with him. She's from the same community that he came in. She knows a little bit about him because of growing up and being around him. And she seems to understand how the church system works when these pastors get appearance fees. They get all kind of fees. And you're wondering, why did they have to earn all that money when people already paid fees for the convention? And then why hasn't Marvin Sapp been able to account for how much money that they actually raised when he was the one telling people to give up money and close those damn doors? Next clip. Put the next clip up, damn it.
I left them with 6 figures in the bank and put a brand new pastor in and walked away and moved to Texas.
Now, let me talk about that. I wasn't a member, but I know a whole lot of people that was members. I don't know if Pastor Sapp is aware of this, but a lot of his members were pissed at him. Just like another church from a black pastor I grew up with here left his members and went to Chicago. They thought it was so horrible for him to choose money and a mega church over their church.
Do you hear what
He was so upset behind. They were so upset about that a lot of people did not stay at that church.
That you hear the truth spoken, damn it. That this was all about Sapp getting the bag. He left the church of 16 years to chase after the bag of being a part of a mega church, and folks were not happy about that when he left. He told Ricky Smiley that he left in good standings. Once again, Marvin Sapp is a liar. And you can't trust anything that comes out of him, which means you can't trust his ministry. Let's continue. Put the damn clip back up.
He just up and left them. Now, how he left him in what position, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he left him and what position he left him in. But he did leave his church behind. Hold on, my grandkids just walked in.
I'm not trying to take advantage of people. That's never been my passion. I'm serious about ministry. And let me go one step further. There's a whole lot of other pastors around here that are doing the same thing. Most pastors in America are bivocational, meaning they have jobs outside of their churches. The average church size in America is only 75 people. Look it up. It's factual. So we're not getting rich off.
That's about the only thing that Saps is speaking upon that's based in truth. Everything else he's been saying in this video or the interview he did with Ricky Smiley this week was a lie. The only thing he's being honest about that I can see now clearly is the fact that, yes, if you go do a Google search, you'll see that on the average, most churches on the average have about 65 to 70 people to 75 people. But the mega churches is where everybody wants to be because that's where you make the most bread when you are a pimp ass preacher.
Church. I am bivocational. I'm a duck.
Another lie. They're not getting rich off the church. If you go back and you look at the beginning of Pastor T.D. Jakes, he gives his testimony on how he started in a small church. Him and his wife were so poor, they barely could put Pampers on their kids. Now he's a multi-millionaire. You look at Benny Hinn and all of them. They're millionaires with private jets. So where they money coming from? They not gospel artists like Pastor Sapp. He pretty much saying people not making money off the church. But the pastors seem to have on Rolex, Cartiers, driving Bentleys, Pastor Sapp, driving Cadillacs, big houses. Where the money coming from then?
To employee at my church. I have a syndicated radio show that I do every week to over 60 different markets. I own real estate. I have mutual funds. I have annuities. I have stocks. I play the market. I took my money and I didn't.
So as you can see, the bullshit. Marvin Sapp, in conclusion, is a fat liar. Once again, check out her channel. Listen to her whole video if you like yourself. It's The Unbreakable Strong Woman by Nina. She exposes this piece of shit you see on the screen there. That's Pastor Marvin Sapp. She's alleging that he's a liar in everything that he's saying, and I'm alleging as well that he's a liar after discovering this video and discovering other things about him. It was damage control on the Ricky Smiley show. As I said before, it was all bullshit. Ricky Smiley was biased. That was not an unbiased interview. He met with someone that he had relationship with. Ricky Smiley, if he was a good friend, he would tell this man the truth, but he didn't. So the lie and the facade continued on Ricky Smiley's show. And he wants to sit up here and tell you he don't know how much money they actually earned. He couldn't give you any details as to where the money was exactly going specifically, even though he lied, in my opinion, when he said it was for operational expenses when people already paid fees to go. It costs money to go to these conventions, these religious conventions. He lied. He lied. This is Truth Media Reacts, or Raw.